With a month and a half down and 4.5 months to go in our 6-month schedule, I'm beginning to wonder, did we bite off more project than we can chew? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Dwight.
And I'm Connie.
And together we're
Beck's Backroads.
We travel the back roads and trails to find the unique, the beautiful, and the sights that not everyone gets to see.
Come join us on our next Backroads adventure.
Do you remember those TV shows a couple of years ago that featured the home improvement renovation? Almost was magic. They basically transformed a whole house in a week. Well, that's Hollywood magic. And unfortunately, remodeling RV is not Hollywood magic. Nope, it's reality, and it's hard work. Let's take a look and see how we did. Initially, we were going to paint all of the walls in the coach, but we decided to go with a shiplap look to give it more of a homey feel. So I found this trim that actually mimicked a shiplap piece of wood, and it was half the thickness of the regular wood. So what we did is we cut all the pieces and then we glued them, and then Connie went back and then she nailed the pieces. To get away from a different look, a rounded corner look at the windows, we decided to square off each one of the windows with wood trim to make it also look a little bit more homey. So one of the things we were trying to do is go to square, get inside square. Most of your RV windows, at least the ones we have a radius inside. So what we did is we measured back so we could take this 1x4 and cover up the radius that we have here. There you go. You got square windows transformed. When all the shiplap was up, it really began to transform the coach and make it look really nice even before the shiplap was painted. Our coach was covered with a fabric material throughout on the ceilings, and particularly in the bathroom, it just was not looking good. So we took on the challenge of removing that, and we first took off the cloth piece. Then you had this insulation that all had to be scraped off. Well, my initial material found this really great product, or so I thought, styrofoam ceiling material that people were using and gluing onto their ceiling. So I ordered at least one pack just to get Connie's approval. Well, as soon as she saw that, her comment was, and I quote,
"We're not having takeout containers on our ceiling."
So I found a sheet of Luan material, which is about an 1/8 thick and very, very light, which would work well to apply to the ceiling. Came up with a measurement that would space out evenly across the ceiling, and then I went about cutting those on the table saw. And probably one of the best products that I found for this installation was liquid nails. And that liquid nails had a lot of different products, but this Fuse-It really, really worked well. It almost was an instant adhere to the ceiling. And then we were able to get those installed, and it really turned out to be nice. Used almost no nails on the ceiling. The Fuse-It really held it in place, and it still looks great today with the Fuse-It material.
First piece up. Here we go.
And of course, after that first piece was up, there were many more pieces to come. We basically did it piece by piece, and the nice thing about it is it was all cut to one length. So once we got one piece in and we didn't have any cutouts, we just kept adding. So it actually was a fairly fast process. You may remember in our initial video, we had this cabinet. We didn't really like the look of the drawers, so Connie went about taking all that apart. And what we decided to do is we were going to put shelves in there and use an open shelf look. And then initially, the coach had these little cabinets next to the beds, and they were really, really flimsy. The drawers were really flimsy. So I went about and rebuilt and basically mimicked the same thing, but just built them better. Next to the bed, we had these long cabinets, and we decided to take the doors off and just use open shelving in there too. So we liked the look of the shiplap in the living room, but we wanted a little bit of a different look in the bedroom. So we went more with what would be considered a beadboard, a white beadboard, and so we installed that on the walls of the bedroom. The look came out really, really well. We were really pleased with how that looks. So where the dinette was, we came up with an idea to put cabinets underneath a desk table. You know, storage is one of those things you can't have enough of in an RV, particularly if you travel full time. So I ended up building what we call a kickboard, and if you'll notice, in the kickboard was part of the heater, and that was tied into the original dinette, so we just extended that underneath the new cabinets that we were going to put in. And then I just built boxes, what we call boxes, kind of a simple cabinet design. And then, of course, we went back in and trimmed it out to make it look really, really well. So back into the bathroom, you'll see that we had this area that I never really talked about in any other video, but with the doors, those lower doors are kind of vented. And the reason they're vented is that was built out for a washer and dryer. And Connie and I decided that we did not want a washer and dryer. So we removed those doors and we decided to actually make, because we had water and sewer there, is to make that the vanity and to move the vanity across from where it was. Built a false back so that we could come back in and put some shiplap behind that wall to make it trim out and look really, really nice. Then in the front of the coach, if you remember, there was a TV in the front of the coach, and we did not want that TV there, so we removed that. And then came one of the other changes that we never really originally thought about. So we took the refrigerator out and planned for a new 12-volt refrigerator. So that became a family project, and we had a good time doing it. It was always a lot of fun getting everybody together, and really appreciate the help, because that's something that Connie and I could definitely not get out on our own. So once the refrigerator was out, we did have to do minor modifications to the space to accept the 12-volt refrigerator. So now that's all done, and we're ready to install the new refrigerator. So we're not really big microwave people, and so we just kind of wanted a small tabletop and utilize the rest of the space for storage. So we just added a shelf there. So in the bathroom, I removed the faucets and the shower head and installed a new one that was more trendy looking, trendy being black as opposed to the old silver that doesn't look too good. Get ready for some scope creep, because in future videos, you're going to see a whole different countertop and a lot of modification to that kitchen.
Oh, we had plans. 2 pages worth.
Well, once again, if you remember from one of our videos, Connie talked about our plans. But honestly, you need a lot of plans once you do something this big, and of course our plans took on the form of actual drawings. We also had lists of things to do to keep us on track. And of course, one of the other things that you have to do when you are not only building the RV, you have to begin choosing products. And oh my, that was probably one of the most painful things for me. Everybody had to be happy, yes, and so I had to, a lot of patience, a lot of different things. But, think about all the different things, particularly in finishes, that you have to choose. You've got tile if you're going to put it in there. You've got flooring. You may use wallpaper in some areas. You've got the tile material, what type of tile you're going to use. It's almost never ending, and that can almost be as challenging as the rest of the project itself, just choosing your finishes. So at this point, we were about 90% done with our modifications, and we're very close to paint. You may be wondering where we were in our 6-month schedule. I'll let that out in our next video. So let us know in the comments below if you would have changed out that Corian countertop as well, or if you have any other comments you'd like to leave us about our remodel. Thanks for watching.
Priceless.
Okay, give it a shot.
We are not having takeout containers on our ceiling.
More emphatic, more mad, more forceful.
We are not having takeout containers on our ceiling.
You good with that?
I don't know.